The Big Issue, breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. It is yet another edition of The Big Issue. I hope you had a very wonderful weekend. The week leading us to the month of November is promising. And of course, we just hope that the November month that will herald the Christmas and New Year will be promising enough to give us hope, in spite of the political misnomers in the country. And of course, it is the political season, and the electioneering season is bringing up surprises, anxiety, suspense, and that is where the big issue takes us to. The proliferation of unexplained permanent voters' cards and INEC's dilemma. Well, the Independent National Electoral Commission is battling to curb the proliferation of unaccounted permanent voters' cards traced to homes of some influential Nigerians. This is coming amid concerns about alleged plots to rig the 2023 general election. Well, there had been sting operations to crack down on those who are in possession of permanent voter cards illegally. And of course, in recent times, we've been hearing of news of the PVCs being stacked in bags and hidden in drainages, some buried underground. And the Independent National Electoral Commission, taken aback by the development, promised that it was going to investigate the development and then make the result public. Well, indications came on Sunday that the electoral umpire is actually keeping to his words when reports of certain arrest and prosecution and conviction in states like Sokoto and Kano State came to the fore. A magistrate court sitting in Sokoto sentenced one Nasiru Idris, who was found to be in possession of 101 PVC, to a year in prison. Similarly, the police in Kano State has arrested a man who was found to be in possession of 367 PVCs. And of course, confirming the development, INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Barrister Festus Okoye, said that the offense is in contravention of Section 117 and 145 of the Electoral Act. In the last couple of days, he said the Nigerian police have arrested some individuals found to be in illegal possession of voters' cards in some states of the Federation. This has actually gone to confirm reports in Rivers, Bayelsa, Imo State, among other states, where these PVCs were found hidden inside the bush, some were buried in drainages, and some were actually buried in the ground. Silas, I think the situation is such that should really worry Nigerians, because of course, there had been allegations that they were plots to rig the 2023 election. And most people didn't take it serious, because there was just one hope that with the electronic transmission of results and the PVAs, it will be quite difficult for this election to be rigged. But with what we are seeing about the proliferation of PVCs here and there, are you sure the PVAs, the machines are credible enough to really curb rigging and other electoral malpractice in the country?
Thank you for the question. Yes, this like I said, this some of papers and real-time uploading of results on INEC portal has given a lot of hope that the election can go the way that the voters decide, you know, and that the this finding of PVCs in all kinds of places, underground, sewages, farms, and co, has come to put some kind of doubt on people's mind. How did these PVCs get taken away from INEC and found themselves in those places? Those are ones found. You don't know how many that are not found. You just know that people stumbled on during the bush clearing or sewage clearing, you know. And that begs the question: how did these materials leave INEC office? There must be some insider collusion for these, VVCs to be, removed from INEC. Because the whole idea about removing these rivers from the PVCs is for the genuine voters not to have access to the capacity to vote. Without, I don't think you can vote without PVC. Okay, so that is the concern. Who are desperately trying to make sure that people don't get their voters card? It's those who are interested in winning the election at all cost. And I'm sure that INEC is taking note of that. And this thing operation they have done now to catch some people, they have got people now. But beyond just sending the Nasiru to jail, the other person being tried and taken Kano, they must find out how the person managed, who were the insiders. They say every time you talk about bank fraud and everything, they always backers inside the bank, couldn't will go outside. In INEC, if their PVCs are being stolen, shift away in bags. One person say 10,000 were found in one place. 10,000 PVCs. There's no way there won't be a trace through which these documents and materials left INEC office, or whose care was it? How was it to move from one point to point to the point of giving them to the owners? Some people are in charge. So INEC cannot say they have got somebody punished without telling us. In fact, I support what one lawmaker on a bill like that from Benin State said. He said INEC should cause an external inquiry if they want to invite the FCC or a special squad from the police to come to the NEC and do a proper investigation to know who is involved. It's not just, they do not just do this one as a show face. Oh, we're trying to. No, let's get to the root of matter, because what NEC does will decide the kind of confidence that people have. The beavers, if you coming of beavers and the real time uploading of results shows in the enthusiasm of voters in some latest elections in Osun State and Co. See how people came out in March because they have trust in the system. And that's why I even found an opposition candidate winning. The man that was sworn in yesterday, in Adeleke. You see how people came out in mass because they have confidence in them. But you can go back and see that in the previous election, because there was no confidence in INEC, because elections could be written in people's ballot and announced on air, people will refuse to come. So anything to they encourage people to come out and join the system, to partake in the system of choosing who the judges are. But they need to go more to find out crooks within the system who are colluding with agents outside to scuttle the work. They are doing a wonderful work, honestly. I must commend INEC, that pick Nigeria's interests and Nigerian companies. They must, and in every 12 that they do that, they should look within INEC, those who have been compromised. I want to have this open. It can generate the kind of integrity that people can trust, going to the elections.
Thank you very much, Silas. Today you heard what Silas said, and of course it's true. In Rivers State, thousands of PVCs were said to have been loaded in sacks inside the drainage system in Rumodara axis of Obiokwa local government area. The residents were taken aback when they discovered over 10,000 PVCs. And how it happened was that the residents were clearing the debris from the drainage. And at the end of the day, they discovered this PVC stuffed in sacks and abandoned under a culvert inside the drainage. And then just about less than 1 month, over 10 PVCs were found in a drainage again in River State.
10 or 10,000.
Over 10,000. You understand? And also in Imo, they were found, the PVCs were found buried underground in some locations. And then, of course, we know that the electoral body, INEC, is in possession of these PVCs. And there's no way we will see PVCs in the hands of those who are not supposed to be in possession of it without people in the commission involved. What do you think?
Thank you, George, for that question. First, I must commend INEC for its efforts so far ahead of the 2023 general election, as INEC is itching towards and assuring and reassuring Nigerians of each free election in 2023, where the right winner will be those who be elected into offices in 2023. However, besides that, the trends of PVC being found in the hands of individuals is indeed a sad one. Today makes it just 88 days to the 2023 general election, and all this is still popping up. It's indeed very sad, and this calls for a total need of the jig of INEC strategy, not just the issue of PVC found, as well as the burning of INEC offices. It calls for a total rejig of its strategy ahead of this election. Besides lip services, the Interagency Consultative Committee on Electoral Security should need to step up their efforts and not just paying lip service and saying we will secure all INEC offices nationwide, because these men of the underworld might seems to like maybe throw fire, set the INEC offices ablaze, and in turn steal these PVCs. All this is a big setback for the 2023 general election. However, we should know that with this PVC being found in the hands of this individual, that means those individuals are being disenfranchised already. That means they won't vote because their PVCs are not in their hand. But besides this, there are also reports suggesting forceful collection of PVC from individuals in northwest Nigeria, a system whereby they meet you and forcefully collect your PVC and hold it in your hand. But this one thing we should be sure of, that with the use of bimodal voters accreditation system, that's BVAS, even though if you have 1 million PVCs in your hand, you can't use it to vote. The use of incidence form is far over. INEC don't use incidence form again to vote. So even though if you have these PVCs in your hand, you have to use your thumbprint to confirm that you are the real owner of the PVC, or use your facial recognition so that the BVAS will accredit you to vote. If these two things does not tally, you cannot vote. If you hold 1 million voters card in your hand, I think INEC needs to sensitize Nigeria on this. INEC needs to step up its media efforts to ensure that they will let those politicians know that they are just wasting their time. If the PVCs are not in the hands of the real owners, they won't vote. So all these come together. INEC should work towards ensuring that we have an each free election as of 2016.
Thank you very much. We will just take a very short break, hoping that our viewers will take the opportunity and begin to send in their comments. And then we'll come back, we'll begin to run up and then look for the way forward in all this. Don't go offline. We'll be back in a moment.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. We're still on the big issue in leadership podcast. And of course, the big issue of the day is the proliferation of PVCs and INEC dilemma.
I think before we should continue, we have some comments. Maybe perhaps we should read them.
Yes, while we wait for them to do that, I think it's coming up. It's coming up. And I think by the time they put them in full glare, we will know. And we will take them.
Okay. Callistus.
Before we say so. Well, I think that is not too clear enough.
Callistus.
The screen is not too big. Callistus, Kali, Buke, Bunke, Wabiuku. This is what Callistus has to say. Homes of influential persons. Euphemism for politicians. INEC is incapacitated in dealing with this problem. These politicians are powerful. You see what Callistus Kali, is saying. And of course, we have Isiaku Barao. Isiaku Barao says the use of BVAs is a great BVAs, whatever is a great development. What Silas Beavers? Let's look at that now. Good. Tunde said it is very useless if those PVCs are found in the hands of influential persons. But what happened to those people that had been disenfranchised? Because by the time you go to the poll, you don't have your PVC to present, then you can't vote. And then secondly, last week, the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Adamu, raised concern and doubt about the use of beavers and electronic transmission of results during the 2023 election. And the reasons he gave was that there are local governments where there are no network. And then the issue of power supply. Although people countered him and said, we spoke of battery. But some of these beavers, they have backup batteries up to 2. So
that one
it's a day's process, and they say
I think later on the APC kind of I think the party made a reversal and showed commitment to and confidence in the beavers technology, and so what you need to know is that the coming of technology to the electoral system, there will always be opposition to it. Those who are used to the old ways. The person I'm talking about is a person of more than 50 years of experience, but thereabout. Okay? So these new things, they will always question it until they see it, work. So it's not surprising that people at that older generation will have an issue with new technology. Even at our age now, those who are 10, 20 years younger than us, they're faster with the new technology than we. They're more tech savvy, like you said, than we are. So if people in their 70s or 80s, like we are complaining about it, you should understand them. They're used to sitting in their parlor and writing the results. So now I tell them that I cannot do this one, that they will question it until they're sure that it will not work against them. But what you need to know is that INEC has always tested its ground, because they are the masquerade everybody is watching, and integrity, that a cloak of integrity is a primary asset of INEC. So they don't want to do an election where they found wanting. So I'm sure that INEC could have considered all the because Adam is not the first person, raising questions about this technology. A lot of people have done it in the past. Even nations, they all question it in the past until they come and say, look, this thing we can use it. It may not be 100% perfect, but you cannot compare it to the time when people sat down on their bonnet. I know a senator in the Southeast at that time, Uncle is dead now, who sat on his bonnet, brought out the INEC returning sheets.
This is what Kali is saying, that these politicians
and
are
he
very
wrote,
powerful.
I was entering the results
And
one by
INEC
one
is blessed.
and declaring himself winner. People are gathering and look, and the next week, the same thing the man wrote there was announced on air. That was during the time of Professor Iwu, a professor of of medicine, of local medicine, that went to do, and let me not be a professor, very well-learned man. But during his time, the thing that happened, even like on the election of that, even the president, the main beneficiary, I said this election was flawed. So that's where we're coming from. And like this reverse technology and all the technology may have one or two hitches, but it will not be 100%. But it is light years. Light. How do you describe?
Largely acceptable.
It is way better than what we had in the past. So let us just have patience with it, go through the betting process of it, and let it give us results that people can say, well, this is more or less a reflection of what we've had.
But Silas, I agree with you. But on the other hand, these are machines.
Yes.
Just like computer, we say garbage in, garbage out. That means the computer on its own does not bring out anything except what is being put inside the computer. The same thing applies to these machines. They will be operated by human beings.
Yes.
INEC staff.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, let's look at INEC staff. In the ongoing investigation, where they say they are going to probe, they are probing, they are arresting. Is it all about the arrest of the culprits, or does the investigation involve staff of the commission to really find out how these things happen? Because you can't trust INEC officials 100%. Somebody said it today, earlier in the day. And look, this is the time INEC officials will be very rich because they know everything about the system and they know how to aid politicians to rig these elections. What is the commission doing today to look at some of these corrupt eggs among them, that while efforts are being made to curb electoral malpractices, they will be there aiding politicians by giving them the leverage, giving them the opportunity to manipulate the electoral system.
Thank you, George. While I'm not the spokesman of INEC, I would like to reiterate that during the voters registration exercise, INEC said some staff were found wanting during the process, and I believe they have prosecuted them or use an internal disciplinary machine to punish those perpetrators of those acts during the voters registration exercise. However, I would like to suggest to INEC to ensure that anybody found wanting, anybody found with this multiple voters card, or anybody which in any way breach the electoral act or find his way to manipulate the electoral processes anyway, such person should be openly paraded so that it will serve as deterrence to others. When you do this thing, maybe it's a staff of the commission, if you parade that such person, through the Inspector General of Police or as well as the NSC, if you parade such person, other staff will not want to be paraded. And as well as those found with multiple voters card, where the report just read one man from Kano, it's so sad. That name should be mentioned. That man should be paraded openly, so that Nigerians will know who are they. You understand? So that's also what creates trust in the system. As it is now, Nigerians are not really feeling like, okay, just mention names, and names can be, you are not very sure. If you say Aminu, there are 20 Aminu. If you say Nasiru, there are 1 million Nasiru. You understand? That Nasiru should be brought to book and paraded publicly. But besides this, I think this is it's high time INEC should run to the President Muhammadu Buhari, to ensure that his offices are well secured ahead of this election, not issue of lip services. You understand? If now the world police in Nigeria, for instance, is as at last count was maybe 400,000. Okay, let's look at our senators who will share this police. Maybe, and I don't want to say, but sadly, some also in the face of the insecurity, they lost their lives. We are not removing that from the figures. You understand? So INEC is left, or the whole Nigeria, I think, according to UN standard, I think it should be 1 police to 4 persons. You understand?
400 or so.
1 police to 400. Are you sure it's 400?
40.
40, yeah. So, but I believe now with a population of over 200 million, even if all the 400,000 soldiers are alive, are you sure they can? Where a politician alone is having over maybe 5 to 10, where police are jostling and seeking for them to be posted to where they will get weekly allowance, not doing the job. You know, so all this needs to be rejigged, be looked at, so that we can have a secure election. Because election, we are fast moving to 2023, just 88 days, like I mentioned earlier. INEC need to do something. We call is interagency constitutive council meeting so that they can rejig and have a rethink so that we can have an each free election in 2023.
Thank you. Well, the Inspector General of Police on Sunday, that is yesterday, ordered all commissioners of police in the state in charge of state police commands to promptly activate the interagency consultative committee on election security to fortify the INEC facilities, offices nationwide. And of course, it's likely that it is in response to the demands made by INEC. The IGP urged them to engage all stakeholders in evolving strategies for mitigating threats to the 2023 election. But just like you rightly say, the strength of the police to be able to execute this to the letter is what we like. But Silas, let's look at the government of the day. Because whatever the case is, the ball is in President Muhammadu Buhari's court. Will he replicate what Jonathan did in 2015, a process that actually brought him to power? Or he will actually will the country back to those days where rigging was like taking a cup of water and turn it into your mouth? How do you look at the federal government, and what do you think?
Yes, thank you, George.
Because if it is federal might, if they still decide to apply federal might, then there's nothing anybody can do. Even the beavers will be useless
No,
in the
I think
2023 election.
we've outgrown that stage.
Huh?
I don't think.
I think the president has consistently reassured Nigerians and the international community that was going to deliver credible elections. He has said it over and over again. Every opportunity he has said it. And when people are saying he would not sign this electoral act, he went ahead and signed it. And tried to tried to make some amendment and whatever. So I think that's a demonstration that he wants to have free and fair elections. You know, whether he is able to do it, if it puts under pressure by certain kinds of candidates in the election, it's what I don't know. Whether he has the strength of character to withhold the pressure that will come. Because Bola wanted to have a choice replacement as a candidate. Even though he voiced it out openly, he didn't have his way. That succession plan was snatched out of his hand. So whether he will stand his ground now to say this election must be free and fair, for now, Nigerians have to watch. But whether has made the rhetoric, has spoken and spoken and spoken, and taken some actions that we've seen inside the Electoral Act and encouraging INEC. Yeah, I don't know those ones. He now will come to the election time, whether he will withstand the pressure that will come with those who want to be president at all costs. That is the desperation of politician. He was a politician that played by the rules. He lost. Anytime he lost, he went to the Supreme Court, all the way to the Supreme Court. So it's always, you know. But I must tell you that those who are looking for this election are not like Jonathan, who said, my ambition is not the one.
You don't want the blood of any man.
There are some who have said they're ready to fight dirty and I will do everything to be president. We know those who have run for so long that they won't want to mix a chance. Like this, like last bus stop. So I'm also looking at that if they miss this one, they'll not be able to have that chance again. So those kind of people, and some have said, well, I'm not deserved to be president. I just want to serve Nigeria. So these are the kind of guys we have on the ballot. So those people are going to exert pressure on the system. Whether the president can stay in the middle and stay neutral, it's difficult to say because it's they go to power and goes to a party, and that party rarely would like to retain power for both continuity and for self-preservation. That is taken. So let us the president and see whether he can walk the talk. He has done the talking. Let him walk the talk because his legacy. Nigeria asking him, under you, the country has gone to blazes in every facet. Please give us revelation. We can forgive you all the other things.
Thank you very much, Silas. The ball is in President Muhammadu Buhari's court in all this. And of course, Silas has killed it there by reminding the president that he has that legacy to leave for Nigerians. And of course, that alone will atone for other things he would have committed while in office, especially the insecurity situation, the poor economy, you name them. And of course, President Muhammadu Buhari was named by the African Union as the champion of anti-corruption in Africa. And at the end of the day, will he live up to that? Or he will actually become like the proverbial lizard in the typical African adage that will refuse to do those things for which its kind are known for, then will be mistaken for the lizard of the farmland. Well, it is an ongoing process. Time will tell. But for Nigerians, the message from the big issue is that they should not lose hope, because with God's help, things will work out the way they would have wanted it to work out. Thank you for keeping tab with us. And of course, I'll thank our in-house analysts for addressing the big issue. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Do have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.